Hello, I'm Katherine O'Fallon, the Executive Director of the Marine Research Hub, leading efforts to advance ocean solutions and innovation in Florida and beyond. By 2030, the global ocean economy is projected to reach $3 trillion and 40 million jobs. And Florida, surrounded by water, is uniquely positioned to lead the way with marine solutions with a global impact. At the Marine Research Hub, we connect stakeholders, elevate oceanographic research, and commercialize marketable solutions that drive investment opportunities, create sustainable jobs, and ultimately protect our marine and coastal environments. Founded in 2017, the Marine Research Hub bridges the gap between scientific discovery and real-world application. Through collaboration between researchers, entrepreneurs, policymakers, and industry leaders, we accelerate commercialization, investment, and ecosystem building, creating lasting impact for our oceans and coastal communities. We are just beginning to make waves, and the potential is limitless. Join us as we fuel the blue economy through innovation, sustainability, and strategic investment from Florida to the entire world. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Blue Economy Podcast. I'm your host, Katherine O'Fallon, the Executive Director with the Marine Research Hub, and we're really excited today to continue diving into the blue economy and the opportunities here in South Florida. And today, I'm really excited to be sitting down with Dr. Harry Moon, the president of Nova Southeastern University, which is one of the premier universities here in South Florida and one of the partners with the Marine Research Hub. And so I'm really excited. Thank you, Dr. Moon, for sitting down with me. We're in a great location. We're going to tell you where we're at today in just a little bit. But this is a privilege for us to be sitting down with our partners in the education sector to really talk about how the blue economy is connected to the university, to our collaboration, and to the growth of South Florida and solutions, not only for what we need here in South Florida, but that have a global impact. And so thank you, Dr. Moon, for sitting down with me. This is a privilege and an honor to have some time with you. I want to start going back a little bit about how you got into this position that you're in now. Also touching on, I've had the privilege of spending some time with you in Greenland. So we're going to get into how we actually got some time together to get to know your vision. And I'm so glad that now we can share that with more people. So first, background. People don't know too much about, Dr. Harry Moon, except that he's, the 7th president of Nova Southeastern University. But how did you get into this position?
Well, that's a good question, but thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to sit down with you in this great location. But so I am the 7th president, and it was never a thought in my mind ever that I would become a president of a major university. No,
never envisioned.
Never. I grew up in a small town in Alabama, 5,000 people. My next door neighbor was a general surgeon. He'd trained at the University of Pennsylvania, but decided to serve a small community, 25-bed hospital.
Yeah.
I knew when I was little, I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be a surgeon. So that was my goal from when I was small. He gave me a job in the hospital over the summers, developing x-rays and learning some basic lab work. And he was my first real mentor in medicine and healthcare. And then I was fortunate enough I was an okay athlete in high school, and I got a scholarship in track and field, and I went to Tulane and competed there. And then I went to med school back in Alabama. I became a physician and followed my dream to become a surgeon, and became a plastic surgeon, and did part of my training at the Cleveland Clinic in Cleveland. At the conclusion of my training, I was invited to join the faculty of the Cleveland Clinic. And then I spent a year in Australia doing research that resulted in some of the techniques that allow us to do breast reconstruction in patients with breast cancer using their own tissue without the use of artificial implants and things. So then it came along, and I was asked to become part of the group to create Cleveland Clinic, Florida. So we established a multi-specialty healthcare system here in Florida, built hospitals and clinics, and did that sort of thing.
Very renowned, well-renowned.
And during that time, I met a guy named George Hanberry, who at that time was the city manager of the city of Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, I did not know that's when you met him back then. Okay.
So fast forward, I had retired from the Cleveland Clinic and was in private practice and doing some other business issues. And out of the blue, I got a call from a headhunter that the university was looking for a chief operating officer. And I said, well, that's great. I'm fine and happy. And
I'm good.
I appreciate the call. Anyway, then got a call from the general counsel of the university and then some meetings, and they offered me the position, and I still wasn't comfortable with being involved in the various aspects that I really didn't have a lot of experience in. I'd run the Cleveland Clinic in Florida. I'd been, in administration, but this was
a whole different
ball game. But they wanted me to do it to help organize and advance our health professions programs.
Yep.
As your audience may not know, we're primarily a graduate and professional university. Yep. So we have 70% graduate and professional, 30% undergrad. So we look more like Harvard or Stanford or institutions of that ilk. But anyway, so I then accepted the job, and it was a good idea to help get this going.
Yeah, because your health background, running with Cleveland Clinic, it makes sense.
It made
You
sense.
Didn't realize it at the time we were asking, but as you got into it, it makes sense.
So as things went along, and it was George Hanberry who had become whom I knew as the city manager. So I did know George pretty well. Then at the end of George's term, the succession committee of the board asked me if I would succeed George. And I had to ask the boss, my wife
Anne-Marie.
Of Anne-Marie. We'll be married 42 years this year.
Oh, congrats.
She wasn't excited about the opportunity at all.
She was like, wait, you were supposed to be slowing down and retiring. We were going to be traveling, grandkids, all that stuff. She was, I don't know. I couldn't see it. Yep.
Yeah, and so, Charlie Palmer, the chairman of the board, called me and said, well, have you made a decision yet? And I said, well, not yet, Charlie, because the other party hasn't gotten aboard. And
We're still negotiating.
And he knows my wife very well. He said, well, how about I call Anne-Marie? And I said to Charlie, that'd be a very bad idea. Don't do that. But one night at dinner, Anne-Marie said to me, why do you want to do this? And I said, knowing and understanding now the assets that the university has in healthcare, in the oceanographic program, and the impact if we can exploit these assets in a good way.
In a good way, yes.
In a good way. It can be very meaningful for a lot of people for a long time to come. And for that reason, if I can help do that, then it's worth doing. And she said, okay, I got it.
She understood.
She understood.
Yeah, because it's all about helping people, helping the environment, helping, building up the ecosystem that's going to support where you guys live and your family lives.
Yeah. So I'm a non-traditional president of a university, and not having spent any time except as a student, academia.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think that actually brings a lot of where we're going with where your vision of NSU is going, and that the collaboration, the partnership, not only the academic education that you're seeking for all the students at NSU, but the economic opportunities that you see for the university.
No question.
No question.
And one of the most stimulating and fun parts of the job is you see the students, right? Oh. And they're going to class and they're doing the things that they do. And you know that they're the future. So the importance of what we're doing in helping create the future, or participating in something that you will never see.
Yeah.
But giving them or helping them achieve their goals, exposing them to the perspective, and then giving them the information that they can use to make the best decisions about what's going to happen. And that's a very powerful feeling.
It is. And the impact, I think that's one of the reasons why education is such a unique opportunity. You have different people and different stages of education that you're really imparting exposure, awareness, wisdom, the tools that they need to be successful. And NSU is really setting up their students for the success in the future. And really what you're focusing on, is the health and the ocean side of things. So tell me, a little bit more about the two pieces, but then how you're bringing them together.
Well, they are distinct entities, and we don't generally associate the blue economy or the ocean or the environment with healthcare, right? But being that said, they're important parts of the fabric of the university, And where we are at this point in time, what we can learn about the environment as it affects healthcare,
Yes.
what's available in the environment. Example.
Resources,
Example.
medical.
Right.
Yep.
Just in the aquatic world of where
Yep.
we all came from. Salamanders today, right? If you amputate a salamander's extremity, it grows a new one.
Yep. Just like a sea stars.
Right.
Yep.
But it's even more complex because
Yep.
it has nerve and
Yep.
bone and skin and all of the component parts of these cells de-differentiate. They become embryonic again and then redifferentiate for the component parts.
Yeah.
That has been going on for a long time. That is important information that is a bridge
Yep.
of what we're talking about in prolongation of health and life, curing diseases.
Correct.
And we'll fast forward a little bit into the Arctic, where the Arctic sharks, which have been around for a few million years, maybe more.
Yep. Yep.
They live on average around 400 years. So they're Arctic sharks that are alive when George Washington was president.
Yep.
So what we can learn from their genetic makeup.
Yep.
Darwin was right? Survival of the fittest, right?
Yep.
And natural selection. Right?
Yep.
That we can learn more about the future of health is from a great degree in our genetic makeup.
Correct.
And our immune system and how things affect us as we age and change. So that's a natural. And we have the assets
to do that.
Exactly.
And you, that goes to my point. It's like NSU got a very unique distinction recently with that research aspect. So NSU got the Carnegie, correct me, I'm about to say it right.
The Carnegie Institute classifies universities in their research activities.
Yes.
And their highest level of classification is an R1 university. And it's how much you spend annually in research, coupled with the number of PhD degrees you award.
Okay.
They go together. So
Gotcha.
The academic and the research. So we reached that level. We're one of 187 universities in the country that are R1s.
Yes.
We also are an opportunity university.
Correct.
By Carnegie. And that rates you on how well your students do.
Yep.
And how well they do once they leave the university, measured in part by their income,
the jobs, yeah.
So we rank higher than the University of Florida and others in that category, that our students earn more on average than 30. We're one of 37 universities
that have that distinction.
And we're only one of 3 private universities. The rest are public universities.
Yes, that's very big.
So we're a unique organization, and we're only 64 years old, but we've now advanced beyond adolescence, and now we're kind of achieving the potential that is there.
Well, and that is a huge distinction, this R1 status, the opportunity school. Like you said, there's not very many in the US. I mean, this is a very unique distinction. And, there's also someone that got that same distinction that's not too far away, which is FAU. So the fact that South Florida has 2 R1 schools and 2 opportunity schools right in our backyard is something that is very unique, special, and we should be really proud of that. But it is a huge opportunity for us as a community to leverage those assets, like you said, exploit them, but in a good way.
Absolutely.
Because research is going to drive the solutions that we need for not only health, like you mentioned before, for medical, longevity, all of that, but then for our environment and our community. Because even though, like we said, they're over here, they're actually more interconnected than we always automatically think. And people always kind of say, like, well, how does the blue economy connect, or the marine or the ocean? How does it connect to all these other interdisciplinary topics? And it's like, it's actually more common than you think. It's just we haven't really put a lens on it. We haven't put that distinction and the overlap on it. So I think that's what, NSU is really trying to do right now, is to make it an interdisciplinary, collaborative opportunity. So not only at the university itself, but within the community as well. And that's why, partnering with the Marine Research Hub, I think, has been a benefit for everyone, for the university and for us as well. I want to talk a little bit about, you mentioned, the Arctic sharks and a little bit of that. So let's dive into some of what's going on with that region and NSU and Greenland, Iceland. And tell me a little bit about the Rising Seas Institute, because this is where for the audience, you might have seen our previous episode where I was in Greenland sitting down with Sharon Gray, who's a part of the Rising Seas Institute. We were filming up there, and you might not have realized, but Dr. Moon was on that trip. He was just busy filming some other stuff at the time, so we didn't get to sit down in Greenland. But that's where we really got some time to talk about what's going on and the opportunity that you've brought with the Rising Seas Institute. So tell our audience a little bit more about that.
So through one of our trustees,
who happens to also be a board member for Marine Research Hub,
and
Steve Halmos. And
his name graces this college that a building of which we're sitting in, the Oceanographic Institute. Steve Halmos had met John Englander, a noted climatologist, scientist, former CEO of the Cousteau Society, and proposed that John merge his foundation, the Rising Seas Foundation, with Nova Southeastern University. Talked to me about it. I talked to John. I said, this is a natural occurrence and selection process that goes on in nature. And through that, I became aware of John's work, information about Greenland, and coupled with our oceanographic program, sitting where we do geographically, right between the ocean in front of us, the Southern Atlantic and in the Caribbean, and the Port Everglades, the third busiest port in the country, is a unique opportunity, number one. Number two is that I began to understand more about Greenland being in many ways a harbinger of things that may come. That it became an interest of mine to let's begin to be involved in what's going on in the data that is being collected. And so from that, we decided that we would have an expedition to Greenland, at which you were invited. And
I got to come, and
what an amazing adventure. But so it occurs to me that what happens in Greenland will affect the seagrass to the sawgrass in the Everglades.
Correct.
And as we were there, it dawned on me that the Earth has really two great capacitors, the ocean and the atmosphere. So those capacitors are being stressed into what is their capacity for CO2, for change that goes on. And as that happens, we can become, and what we don't have are really good models of what will change when, by what degree. Because of the independent variables that exist. And so we will, in the future, have a permanent site functioning in Greenland so that we become part of the data gatherers, aggregators, to work with perfecting a model.
Correct,
So as we do that, it will benefit, obviously, South Florida, but more importantly, we can begin to look at what we can do to mitigate change. Technology is a wonderful thing. So as in Iceland, where they're scavenging CO2, injecting it, where there's rapid development in artificial photosynthesis, which naturally converts CO2 to carbon and oxygen, to other technologies that could change the amount of sunlight that hits the Earth, that we will be involved in understanding it from a
scientific process,
without bias. We won't look at the data to prove what my theory is or to disprove something. Data, if you're a physician or a scientist,
Just the data will drive your decisions.
Correct.
The data will tell you what we need to do to mitigate and to
Right.
adapt. But we have to have the data, and we have to have it aggregated in the right way that can create and predict those models.
And
Correct.
so to your point, we have several institutions, some right next door
Yep.
in FAU. We have others, the University of Copenhagen, who we'll be talking to, who has the largest scientific footprint in Greenland. And let me say this parenthetically, is, Greenland is a very powerful environment. It's kind of depicted as being this giant island with a big piece of sitting on it.
But we know from being there firsthand.
It's very dynamic.
Yeah.
It is moving, it's active, it talks to you, it speaks. And the people themselves, their interaction with their environment, it is one of synchrony, which is very special in and of itself. So that we are becoming the institution.
Yep.
We've grown from being a university that served a 3-county area, Dade, Broward, Palm Beach, to being a national institution.
Yeah, you already have sites across the state of Florida. You have a location in Puerto Rico, Denver, and now we'll be creating partnerships. Oh, Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas. And Henderson, right outside Las Vegas. So those are primarily healthcare related.
Yeah.
But our students now, 40-odd%, 42, 43% of our undergraduate students come from out of state. And around 40% of our graduate professionals come from out of state. So we are becoming a national university as well.
Sure.
And with the Marine Hub, the other organizations that exist, I've learned a long time ago, there's not one smart person in the room, right? But
right.
The aggregate intelligence can be very powerful.
Very much.
And that when it works in a collaborative fashion, it's even more powerful.
It's very, you couldn't have said that better. It's bringing all the smart people to the table. You surround yourself with a lot of, this. You can't be the one who's always the one who has everything. That's why you surround yourself with such amazing and smart people, but out of the box thinking as well, because we have to think outside of what we've traditionally done in order to tackle some of our greatest challenges right now. And data is the biggest way that we can help, bring a lot of that information together to then tackle those challenges for sure.
Right.
So Greenland was, one of the most impactful being there. And I know you guys are working towards more trips with students, with the community, with stakeholders, and, people are making decisions, because what happens in Greenland does affect what's happening in South Florida.
No question.
And the dynamics of what's going on in Greenland is with the, melting and the calving and the ice caps. And thankfully, being there in person does bring it home. You saw that by, seeing the calving, seeing the icebergs, and talking to the locals of what they've seen change over time. But talk a little bit about how you guys are building up some of the programs so that we can get some more of that boots on the ground, hands-on experience. Yeah. Not everybody can go. It's unfortunately can be very expensive, but you're starting to bring those pieces together.
We are. We will be meeting with a representative of the University of Copenhagen later in February.
Oh, excellent.
And we have begun to plan this next July series of expeditions, of which we, the President's Office, will sponsor and scholarshiping a number of students.
That's excellent.
It will be a competitive process where they will write essays about what they feel, think, or would want to study.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And so we will send 15 or 20 students this summer. Excellent. And they will become part of ongoing research activities and educational activities, along with private citizens, faculty, staff, to see things firsthand and to get an understanding of what it is that is transpiring and the magnitude, and beginning to look at mitigation and others. And there's no simple solution.
Unfortunately, no, there is not.
Right. And the world's been around for a couple of billion years, right? And so we're
just a small piece of it,
nanosecond right now. But be that as it may, the world has changed a lot over the years. So, but we're going. So with the physical facility that we're in, this is a wonderful building that was built with NIST, National Institutes of Science and Technology funding. Yep. It was built to be a research center, which it is. It houses the National Coral Research Institute.
Yeah, you led right into what I was going to get into. No, you knew you're thinking along the same lines. Yeah.
And so we are studying coral propagation, sexual and asexual reproduction of corals and certain corals. And there's a whole lab that's
it's an amazing facility that you guys, and it's almost a hidden gem. I mean, people talk about it in here a little bit, but you're coming more to the center stage in a lot of conversations about coral. And so, but it's been going on for a while.
It's been going on for a while. We also have one of the most active shark tagging programs in the country. One of our scientists, Mahmoud, is the fellow that decoded the shark genome. So just as the Human Genome Project was done, now he has
the shark genome.
Yes.
And Mahmoud is with the Guy Harvey Research Institute that's housed here that does a lot of the shark research. And I've been out shark tagging for over a decade with Dr. Burkholder and students from the community here when I was at New River. So I've had a long relationship with the shark people here. And it's great. What data is being collected is now, being aggregated. We're being able to tie a lot of the research that you're getting into applications of decision making for conservation, but also for the medical side is such a huge part that we're just starting to scratch the surface. We're just starting to
really focus on that. Chad Perlin, the new dean of the MD medical school. We have two medical schools, an osteopathic school and an allopathic school, DO and MD. And we also have a very large dental program. We're the only university in the country with a DO school, an MD school, and a dental school. In fact, we graduate more doctors than anyone in the state of Florida. And we graduate more healthcare professionals, nurses, physicians, physician assistants, anesthesiology assistants, occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech language pathology, you name it. We graduate more healthcare professionals than any university in the country.
That's impressive. And that's one of the reasons why it makes such perfect sense. The strength that you have in the Oceanographic Research Center here, and then what you have with the health, it just makes sense to really bring those two together in the health and ocean space, because we know from a lot of water quality research that a lot of chemicals are going into the water. We're ingesting it. We're putting it onto our body and our faces. But there's a lot of pharmaceutical applications, medical applications, just changing out naturally what we're putting into our body and on our bodies that can also be a benefit to taking care of the environment. So there's a lot of that. I want to get to, you have something else you want to share?
I was just going to follow on when you asked early on when we were talking about vision.
Yes, that's where I was going next. See, you knew what question I was going to get to. I feel like we were timing that out.
Well, we didn't, but if you look at the best oceanographic programs in the country, there are two that are really outstanding. There's Woods Hole in Massachusetts, and there's the Scripps Institute in La Jolla, California. We want this facility, this oceanographic program to expand, and we can talk about that expansion, but to become the Woods Hole of Florida. And serve the South, serve the country in collaboration with others that we would, and Woods Hole combines research, exhibit, our conference center space, so the interaction with
industry
as well as research and education can take place in a very collaborative fashion. And with what we're doing, one, the physical location of where we are. Weather's a little better than Massachusetts.
For sure. Except we had a couple cold spells the last few days, but nothing compared to what they're dealing with up there now.
And that it's a natural that this would occur, and it should be in Florida, where if things do change, we would be in the country, the area most affected.
Correct. We are I always like to say we're pretty much ground zero to everything that's dealing with the resilience, the climate, the environment. Third largest barrier reef is literally right outside of our back door here, or front door, whatever way we want to call it. And we're centered at a lot of need for solutions. And so we should be the epicenter for solutions for our environment, for our community, for economic development and growth. I mean, we have a port right behind us here, a large tanker coming in right now. We know this is a huge part of our economy, but it's also a huge environmental things happening around here that we need to make sure that we're balancing it. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's where the universities come in with the data and the decision, because like you said before, you're on the side of data. No matter where you're at, it's the data. And so we can make decisions that are going to be beneficial for the environment and beneficial for our community and economic growth.
Yeah.
But we have to do it with data at the forefront. And that's where bringing and creating this space, like you're saying, the Woods Hole of Florida, the Woods Hole of the South, being able to bring industry to the table so that they can support that is the most valuable thing I think we can do. And that's where, Marine Research Hub is, part of that, connecting those dots and really, I always say like my job is to kind of connect and then get out of the way so things can get done. But the data is kind of always going to be the baseline to help us make those decisions.
The data, the part of the aggregator, part of the catalyst that makes things happen. And it's also creating the fertile ground for the researchers so that they can be productive.
Yeah.
And the fertile ground are the laboratories, the infrastructure, the things that allow them to be successful.
Yeah. And that's, I think, exactly what the goal is that we've got lots of research going on. We've got a lot of things that people don't necessarily always know about, but it's also getting that research to the next level, commercializing it, making it a scalable business. And that's where we kind of are bringing those pieces together, that the industry, the investment, the exposure and awareness, that the research that's being done, the technology that's being developed from, the coral genetics side of things to the different things that are happening in the medical space. And more than what we even talk about right now, it's the business development of it, because those are going to also be new job creations. It's going to be new internships and opportunities for the students, but it's all going to be based in the research, those research-based solutions.
Right.
So I love it. I'm super excited. I know this space that we're on right now you have a lot of big visions for this with, like you said, creating that opportunity to bring everybody together. Is there now you're about a year into your first, presidency. It'll be the end of this month, pretty much.
Correct.
Maybe actually right around this time.
Yep.
What have you seen as like the biggest challenge and the greatest opportunities moving forward?
The challenge is time.
Time.
And that for me, there is
there's only so many days.
So many days, weeks, months,
hours
within this administration, right? And what I would like to have accomplished during that period of time. So that's the biggest challenge.
Yep.
The opportunities are significant. The support is universal. The shared vision from the trustees to the executive management staff at the university is one vision. And we are in agreement that it's important to do, that we have the capacity to do it, and it takes the whole team to get it done. So part of my task, too, is strengthening that team.
Yeah.
And it's not about me at all. It is about them and the students and the scientists and the patients that can benefit in the future.
Yeah, it's about making sure that it's a shared vision.
Correct.
And we're rowing in the same direction. If we're going to use a boat analogy, we have to be working in collaboration. Yeah. And I think that comes from leadership from you. It's not just your vision, it's everyone's collective. And everyone is a part of developing this plan and this opportunity and this vision. And I think that brings a lot of ownership. So from the students to your executive team and everybody in between.
Yep. And if you the analogy, if you think of what Eisenhower did to achieve D-Day in Normandy, the expanse of the logistics, all of the things that were brought together to achieve one goal.
Yep.
Right? So if we utilize our time and intellect efficiently, we can bring great change to bear if we focus and execute.
Yeah. And I think one of the greatest things, back to us, our location and where we're at, is that being the epicenter of solutions means that we deploy, we can pilot, we can test, we can do all the research here, but it has a global impact because we're not the only ones dealing with everything. It's just we're in a unique position that might be the first to help perpetuate those things. But it's a goal for us to achieve, and that has a greater impact than just on ourselves. And I think that goes back to the education of our students as well.
Absolutely.
That impact that you may not see right away, but it's a long-term impact.
No question.
As well.
Yeah.
So we're kind of coming to the end of our time here, but I know you've got some great things coming up. You have a State of the Ocean that you are planning out in April. We're also working on some collaboration and just exposure opportunities for that business side of things we were talking about here with interdisciplinary of the Helmholtz College and the Business College. So can you touch on some of the things that are kind of coming up here in the forefront?
Well, the State of the Ocean, I think, can be very important. That we tell the community, the country, where we are, what we've learned, and where we're headed.
Yep.
And to the state of the health of the ocean, of the waterways, and the assessment of the data that we've collected and what we're collecting and why.
Yep.
That's number one. So it's going to bring an increased focus on us and what we're doing.
Yep.
And that will, to people, I think, be a driver, a compelling story that this enterprise is worth investing in.
Correct.
So as we raise capital, we increase the endowment, we grow the business side of education and research as well. It'll be an important facet. We have plans to expand this campus. We have a donor that has identified a vessel that I have visited in Mobile Bay. That would be our first research vessel. It's called the Lana Rose.
with Joe Farrell.
Mr. Joe Farrell and Resolve Marine.
Housed here, and their home base is Fort Lauderdale, largest salvage company in the world.
In the world is here. And the Lana Rose is a very fabulous opportunity to have a research vessel. I've heard, and that would be an interactive participatory vessel that civilians, students,
and not just NSU. It's going to be
for everyone.
Yes, and
just as Woods Hole serves everyone. Yeah. Right. Whether it's Harvard or Yale or Princeton or FAU, Miami,
FUS.
Right.
Yeah. I think your vision, like you said, the collaboration is such a big thing because, it's going to rising tide lifts all ships, so if we're all working together. So you've got this facility here, the Lana Rose, the vessel coming on board. So the State of the Ocean is going to be, what is it, April?
It's Earth Day.
Earth Day. There you go. I was like, what day is it in April? I knew it. I had it written down. I didn't want to look.
So it's Earth Day. Yeah.
Earth Day. So it's definitely going to be a great opportunity for everyone to learn a little bit more. Is that going to be just for people to attend in person, or are you guys going to potentially live stream?
It'll be simulcast as well, right? On NSU's network.
Perfect.
You can find that on the web.
We'll share some of those links of where you can find more information because we've got some great footage of Greenland. Yep. Every time I watch it, it gives me goosebumps. And I know there's more coming out.
There's more coming.
And so we'll be linking some of the resources of NSU website, social media, follow along, because we've only scratched the surface of what NSU is starting to do in this conversation. But there's a lot.
I would welcome the opportunity to meet with you and your listeners and viewers.
Just give an update later in the future.
Right.
There's always, that's one of the greatest things about this is that we talk about some of the things and then we can always go back and watch later. And if you haven't watched my episode in Greenland yet, I definitely would say go back and check it out because you'll actually see it was that foggy day.
Oh.
And you can see the fog coming behind us and the iceberg gone and then back again because it was so foggy that day. But
it was a magical day.
It was an amazing trip. Like I said, I get goosebumps. So as we wrap up with our time, I feel like we could keep going, but I know, like you said, time is something we have a finite amount of,
right? And
we have to use it well and allocate it. So is there anything you'd like to share before we go? Last words of thoughts that are
I want to thank you and congratulate you on what you're doing with the Marine Hub.
Well, thank you.
Because as we said, things don't happen in a vacuum. And as you bring together the component parts and articulate them and further explore them, it becomes inspiring in itself. And I thank you for that. The university thanks you for that. And it's a great pleasure.
Well, thank you. I did not solicit that at all. I appreciate your time. It's been such a pleasure. I mean, I've loved being able to see your vision grow. As we wrap up, I'll end with our first meeting was here. And we were actually talking about the vision for the blue economy and the ocean economy and what you had in mind in store. And I was just like, yes. And then I'll say, you know, I saw it, I heard it from you as we were talking. This was before you stepped in as official president, but you were already, you know, getting the ball rolling, of course. And then at your inaugural event, I can't remember, what is it called? Investiture. Thank you. I was like, sorry, it wasn't coming to me. But at the investiture, and when you stood up there in front of everyone, you know, hundreds of people, the student body, the trustees, the community, and said that health and ocean are our focus. If you would have put a camera on me at that time, you would have seen like the biggest smile I could ever have, because it has just been kind of like all of these, you know, synergies of things coming together. And I think we're at a perfect storm opportunity right now of, you know, the investment side of things, the focus on sustainability, on the oceans, on commercializing solutions that we need, and then really, you know, partnering with all the data-driven stuff that's coming out of our universities, from the medical, from the ocean, from, you know, even just AI and how it's being more efficient with our data and just using it in the right way. So I appreciate your time. And I'm so excited to see as we continue to grow as a community in this solutions, but also as seeing how NSU continues to put their, you know, stamp on all of this. So I appreciate your time. And for those of you who've joined us today, thank you for joining for another episode of the Blue Economy Podcast. We're going to be putting some links of where you can find information about NSU. And we are just so happy to be sharing and, you know, look at where we're at today in this beautiful environment. And we hope that we'll be back here again to share more updates on NSU and the progress. And please go back and watch some of our previous episodes, like and share, and we'll see you next time on the next episode. So again, thanks so much. And,
my great pleasure.
Yeah, we are so glad to have you, and have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Life on our planet began in the sea, and the ocean remains vital to our communities, our livelihoods, our well-being. At NSU, we are leading the effort to foster the ocean economy, leveraging our expertise in research and workforce development to enhance our industries and economy through the sustainable use of marine resources. From the fisheries and boating to tourism and shipping, our oceans and waterways fuel economic development, create jobs, and attract investments. And it all relies on the continuing vitality of our ocean ecosystem. And this ecosystem goes well beyond our Florida coastline. 140 countries around the world are connected by the oceans.
It's a connection that unites our communities while contributing billions of dollars to the global economy. A reminder that the ocean is not just a living treasure, it's an essential resource we must protect and manage effectively.
It's a connection we preserve by restoring our coral reefs, securing a future where we continue to be nourished and protected by the thriving coastal environments they sustain.
It's a connection we strengthen by partnering with research and government organizations around the globe, linking nations, experts, and scientists to protect essential marine species while contributing to economic sustainability.
Today, our ocean connection is changing. As we enter a century of inevitable global sea level rise, we have the opportunity to plan for resilience and intelligent adaptation so we can prepare for the challenges and the opportunities that lie ahead.
We must invest in this essential connection. We recognize that there is no healthy economy without a healthy ocean economy. NSU Ocean is uniquely positioned to help lead this important effort because we are
innovative,
rooted in science,
dedicated,
adaptive.
As I look into the blue waters where it all began, I envision a future where NSU can open up an ocean of opportunity. This is NSU Ocean, and this is what excellence looks like.